Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Let's Build. So here I am on the Skyrim blog. I've just posted the last episode, and now we're going to start writing the build. So I'll just head over to my page, and as a bit of a basic structure, I'm gonna base it off the same sort of template as I did with my Night Guard. So I'll start writing a new build, and I'll open up the edit thing for this one so I can copy across all of my HTML. And I'll just lay out a few sort of headers and sort of general content markers. This is what I usually do to sort of I like to get the basics down at the really low level and then sort of build it up from there with screenshots, explanations, that sort of thing. So, got the introduction here. Replace this with an opening screenshot. Now the opening screenshot is really, it really helps to sort of grab the reader and get them into reading the rest of the build. So for that, I'm probably going to do up something cool with sort of Photoshop composite of my human form and vampire lord form and stuff like that. So for the moment, I'm going to name my build the First. Some of you guys might have seen that was my character's name, but of course I might change that later on if I come up with something better. So I'll just put my backstory in here. A build introduction, where I'd sort of cover the main aspects of the build, like a sort of general summary of the whole thing. Nord, stats, leave that blank for now, though I think I went with 2 or 3 points of magicka for every point of health. No, it was 2. Might zoom in a bit just so you guys can see. So as for the standing stone, I'm going to recommend the Apprentice stone for starting out, because this will like pretty much counteract the vampire sunlight weakness, allowing us to cast spells during the day. Speaking of which, I'll jot down that I'm a vampire. I'm just making sure here in my stone selection bit that I'm sort of explaining what, or rather why I'm suggesting these stones, because a lot of people just like say the Lord stone. Like, it's sort of obvious why it's there, but it's always nice to give people a bit of a explanation if the reason isn't immediately obvious. I think for the perk spreads, I'll go with level 20, 40 and 50, since I think after level 50 there won't really be too much to pick up other than like outside, or rather inside, the core skills of the build. Now, I did notice back in the Night Guard that I don't know, must have fixed it maybe. Yeah, some of these titles here are a bit bolder than they should be, so I'll make sure I go and fix that up when I'm editing this version of the discussion. So I'll zoom back in. Now, I'm just going to firstly list my, sort of do a list of the skills and then flesh it out a bit more later. So obviously, if you've been watching the previous episodes, you'd know that our major skills are Conjuration and Illusion, and our minor skills are... just a sec. Alteration, Restoration, and Enchanting, as well as Heavy Armor. I tend to put the crafting skills at the end of the section so that it doesn't, or rather, because people usually know what the crafting skills are for. Alright. Yeah, so you can see what's happened here is there's sort of, I think, two bold things over one of the M at the start, so I might just get rid of that one. That should fix it up. Oop. And I'll just move that one over to the end of the paragraph. It's a bit of HTML stuff, nothing too difficult. Alright, there we go. So, yeah, so in the major and minor skills sections, I'll sort of just set out what the skill's used for. Like, say in Conjuration, I'll mention that it's primarily a summoning focus, though we do use bound swords early on. But generally it's more of a flavor description of like why this skill's in the build, and less of like how all these skills fit together, because that will go in the gameplay section a bit further down. If I... Yeah, here we are in the combat section. Though I'll probably reorder some of these, because, yeah, I feel like the combat's a bit more important now than it was back then, especially for a slightly more complex build like this one we're writing now. So I'll just put a sort of placeholder for a skills section screenshot here. Not exactly sure what I'll do for that yet, though it'll probably sort of just be a general combat screenshot of, say, blasting someone with a vampiric drain with some summons and illusion-affected people around. It's not as much fiddly vampirism stuff, but I think I'll integrate that into the gameplay section this time. Though, I think something I might do is sort of change the major and minor skills section to a skills and abilities section. So this will be a little bit longer, but I can sort of condense a few sections into one, because like I said, the vampirism section doesn't really need to be as long this time. And I might as well chuck the shouts in there as well, since, like I mentioned in the previous episode, they're not really a major part of this build. So I can get rid of this section. Might move the video a bit further down and move the combat section, which I might rename to gameplay, up before the demonstration video. I'll fix up all the anchor links later, but I think I'll keep the table of contents in. So the gameplay section will sort of explain how to open a fight. Just make a few notes here. Yeah, I think that's sort of the core of it, but of course when I'm writing it up I might add some more stuff later. Bring the roleplay section up as well, since it seems to be a lot more important to people compared to when I first wrote the Night Guard back in 2012. So I'll just paste that in there. Make a note for some screenshots here as well. I'm not exactly sure what I'll do for the gameplay screenshot, but for roleplay I've got something in mind. Talking and typing at the same time doesn't work too well for me, evidently. Okay. And I might put the quests in the... I'll just jot it down in both gameplay and roleplay for now. But yeah, just like I mentioned in the last episode, doing certain quests at certain levels can sort of make it flow a lot better, especially with summon progression. I'll move the equipment section up, though unlike the Night Guard, equipment isn't too big a part of our build, because obviously I'm not a melee fighter, so I don't really need much of that stuff. Don't really need to leave any notes there, since everyone knows what to put in the equipment section. And since my endgame equipment's largely coming from the Atronach Forge, I'll put in a screenshot of the Atronach Forge there. Let's get rid of these few screenshots. And I'll just redo some of these headers. Alright, and that should be about it for the sort of layout. I'll probably do another episode or two as I finish actually writing the sections and doing some screenshots. But yeah, this was probably a bit of a shorter episode, but after all, you did get 2 episodes in one day, and I'll see you guys next time.